in two. So, Joakim, let's begin. War to end all wars.
Yeah.
It's one of the most famous catchphrases about World War One.
Yeah, and very, very wrong.
As it turned out to be.
Yeah.
It was horribly, that went horribly wrong.
Yeah.
Is this ironic? Is this the album title a bit ironic as this catchphrase? Because everybody knows now that in fact it was the war to start all wars.
Yeah, yeah, it's exactly what you say. It is a bit, we are playing on the irony of it all, but it's also a second reason. I mean, everybody knows what it's going to be about because we already did the Great War album. How do we do Great War Part 2? That sounds bad, you know, I don't like that. So we figured that, yeah, the irony is perfect. And also everybody's going to know what it's about, you know. Mm-hmm. And we can call the next tour, the tour to end all tours.
Yeah, that's a name. That's a great name. Did you have the idea because of the tour or because of the war of the album title?
When we started bouncing different album titles, I was sort of joking with Pat. We should call it Greater War, and then it can be Greater Tour, you know. And then he said we had a few different ideas, but as those jokes came along, but then we came with War to End All Wars, and that means that that could be the tour to end all tours. It's like, okay, yeah, okay. So the album is the War to End All Wars, and the tour is the tour to end all tours.
And another lie. That's another lie.
Of course. Well, no, I can't say of course, but I certainly hope so.
It's like No More Tours from Ozzy Osbourne.
Oh yeah. Or what's it called? Was it a British band? What have you? Status Quo, who did the End of the Road tour in '84? Was it their farewell tour?
That went wrong again.
Yeah.
It's 37 years later and they're still touring. That's okay. Yeah. Hopefully, good for them, good for us.
Yeah.
Your new album is coming out. I counted 27 different formats.
What?
It took me a while to count them.
Okay. I had no idea. The only one I really know about, because it's the first time we have it and I'm super excited about it, is that we are for the first time releasing on cassette.
Yeah. Not only one type of cassette. I think it's 3 or 4 different formats.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Don't know what.
I had no idea, man.
Yeah. Do you ever think about these collector guys, these poor collectors who need to
yeah, if you're on
suicide in order to have everything?
Yeah, I mean, if you collect vinyls, that's one thing because you only have to get the vinyls. If you're let's say CD collector, you get the CDs from all your favorite bands. But yes, I would like to say I feel sorry for the ones who think are Sabaton collectors and needs everything Sabaton has done. Seriously, I feel sorry for them. On the other hand, it's like we found out though that I think it's weird, but it's not up to us to control how people listen to or enjoy our music, because some people like streaming and that's fine. Some people want a vinyl. And some people want a picture vinyl to hang on their wall, not to listen to. Some people want a 180 gram minimum vinyl because they have a hi-fi vinyl player. So I've sort of given up trying to what do you call it? Keep track of it. As soon as the album has been mixed, written, recorded, mixed, and mastered, then I really don't know what happens to it. And honestly, I really don't care in what formats, as long as it's available easily for anyone who wants to listen. That's what I think is the most important, because it's not up to us to decide that, no, you cannot have vinyl, you know.
No, then you are in the position to have as much variety of products as you can, because you are now an established name, and your record label can issue different kind of vinyls, different kind of CDs, different box sets, and all different bundles. If you were in your beginnings, then it would not be so easy.
Oh no, I remember the first time I was happy that we were doing a jewel case and the, what do you call it? The
Digipack.
Digipack, yeah.
During the past few months, you released a couple of standalone singles.
Mm-hmm.
A few, I mean, 3 or 4, if I remember well.
Mm-hmm.
None of them was included in the album.
Nope.
Did you write them for that particular reason? And they were never intended to be part of the War to End All Wars album?
No, that was actually the idea, yeah. They were written for those reasons. We wanted to do a song to celebrate the 500th anniversary of the Royal Guard of Sweden, or Livgartet. We wanted to do a cover of Radio Tapok to mess with him, because he's been doing, Sabaton covers before, and he did a song that was very much in a Sabaton style. So we thought, hey, let's fuck with him and cover him instead, and do that. This is also a cool thing. He sang, Attack of the Dead Men on stage with us in Russia. Nice guy. And then, of course, Steel Commanders. That was the whole thing with Wargaming and World of Tanks, and that was never intended to be a part of the album either. But let's just say we haven't been very busy with touring, so we could give our fans a little bit extra.
Yeah. And what finally happened with Livgartet, the Royal Guard song, and you didn't work with the Swedish Armed Forces?
Yeah, the whole idea came from them, and we really liked it because they talked to us about doing a celebration together, and that being sort of the official song for the Royal Guard. And that was cleared up until sort of pretty high in the Swedish Armed Forces. Then it was stopped for political reasons, of course, political reasons, as always. But I'm not throwing shit at them. But they were first worried about, us singing about all of these topics. They were worried about our political agenda or so. And we managed to show them that we don't have a political agenda. We're actually one of the bands who don't want to tell people what to vote, pray for, or what they want to eat or whatever. So they were cool with that. But then we've been in Russia quite a lot. And it's a bit of a Russophobia in Sweden, and we're touring there a lot. We've been on controversial places, and so it's not like them hating us. It was like, yeah, are we going to get too much entangled with Sabaton and the controversial stuff they've been doing? So they decided to pull out of the cooperation. Mm-hmm. And Paris called me and said, we can't do it. And I said, of course we can. They can't stop us. We can tell the truth. We can do the song anyway. We can tell the truth exactly as it was. That's a great thing about living in a country with free speech. So let's do it. Let's be honest about it. And that's what we did. And then it became a news thing in Sweden that they had backed out. But we didn't throw shit at them because it's not up to us to decide how the Swedish Armed Forces deal with it. Yeah. But the best thing was only a few months ago, we got an email from the K9 Patrol of the Royal Guard who wanted to use that song in a promo video for them. So it's like, okay, so now you want it,
Yeah, but speaking about this agenda, you have been a band whose military outfit and the lyrics about war has caused a few people accusing you of being warmongers, fascists, whatever. What do you have to say to them? Because people are easily misled by the stage outfits, by the concept of the albums, and as in black metal, they think that some bands are the antichrist of the new century, something like that. Perhaps they think that bands like Sabaton are warmongers and fascists, and they can easily draw.
I understand why that connection is there, because in many cases, music has historically been used to deliver a political or religious message. So I can understand why people would get it wrong. However, it's important to point out that we are storytellers. So let's say call us movie makers instead, because movies has in many cases been used. It's accepted socially that it's only a story. Mm-hmm. And the fact that we sing about Nazis doesn't make us Nazis. The fact that we sing about communists doesn't make us communists. But in music, that's a tricky situation. However, if we take this analogy then to the movies, would anyone ask Steven Spielberg if he's a Nazi just because he made the movie Schindler's List? No, you wouldn't. You'd understand that he wants to tell the story of the horrors, or and even, you know, put the light on somebody who did something good in a bad time. And that's totally acceptable. And I think it's natural. It should be like that. I just wish people would give us the same latitude and accept the fact that we're just storytellers. And sometimes we like to tell the story from the bad guys or perceived bad guys side, or sometimes whichever side we find interesting. And that could be any side. Yeah. And sometimes we do things just to mess with people for the hell of it.
Do you think that Christmas Truce is the most demanding Sabaton song up to date?
Oh, really?
Do you think that it's the most demanding song that you have written?
Oh, demanding? Do you mean writing wise or performing wise?
Writing wise.
Yes, one of the absolutely one of the most demanding. Actively writing that song is, I think, compared to like 3, well, a bit more normal, typical Sabaton songs. That one, and I think actively, I mean, there are some songs that I start, you know, let's say I started in 2004 and then I finished in 2008, but that doesn't mean I worked with them a lot. They could have just been lying around until I come up with a good idea what to do with them. But absolutely, Bismarck and Christmas Truce are by far the ones I spent most hour actively working on.
It's like Sabaton meets Trans-Siberian Orchestra.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not only by the concept of it, the Christmas concept, but music-wise.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I love Sabotage. I mean, we could hear that already in Cliffs of Gallipoli.
And you absolutely love Crimson Glory, as you can hear from Dreadnought.
Oh, you're the first one to get that. Thank you.
I mean, I was listening to the album and I say, okay, this is In Dark Places. This is In Dark Places. And I immediately...
The verse riff is really inspired by that song. Yes.
Yeah. And
thank you. You're the first one to notice. And did you notice also on the verses, I'm over articulating like Midnight is doing. I don't sing normally, unrivaled firepower. I go, unrivaled firepower, and, you know, over exaggerate everything. So thank you. I'm happy now.
You know what? I asked my wife to come here, and I was listening to the album. Tell me, and I asked her, what does this song remind you? And she immediately told me this is from Transcendence from Crimson Glory, but I don't remember the song. Okay, it's that's okay. That's okay. Okay.
One of my favorite albums of all time.
Yeah, of course. And I'm very glad that you are very proud of your influences, and you're proud to say, okay, this is my Savatage moment. This is my Crimson Glory moment. That's very good to hear.
Yeah, why hide it? I mean, it's something, I mean, it's not like we're stealing the concept of a whole song. I mean, in a way, I'm glad if people know, and if they start to then discover Crimson Glory, who is a hugely underrated band, and if more people start listening to the music, even better, you know?
Sabaton have established their own style, both musically and lyrically and everything. Do you feel that you are trapped in this concept and style, or is it what you've been searching for from the beginning of Sabaton? Because now you cannot do anything else than that.
No, but the good thing is
it's forbidden for you.
Yeah, but I don't want to do anything else.
Yeah, okay.
It's like I get to play music that's, you know, yeah, a friend once said, like, it's funny with Sabaton, like in Sabaton's music, you can hear influences from so many classic 80s bands and all of that, the classic heavy metal, but still somehow you mashed it up so much and added so much of your own that nothing sounds like Sabaton. And that's something like I'm really proud to hear and makes me happy. Because I'm not ashamed to say we rest on the shoulders of anything from Crimson Glory to accept there's a lot of that. Judas Priest, all of these bands we grew up listening to, drinking beer, and, you know, was a part of starting the band. I think it's a positive thing. And now, us being in military history, the more I learn, the more passionate I become about it. And it's not like it's limiting. I mean, I don't feel limited at all, because Sabaton is broadening. We're not revolutionary. We don't do totally different things between albums. But if you listen to our first album and then you listen to, you know, the War to End All Wars, they don't sound the same at all. There's a constant evolution. And what was Sabaton 20 or, you know, 15 years ago was this small, very small and narrow, what would be considered Sabaton. For every album that gets wider. I mean, look at, for example, Christmas Truce is a good example. It's a waltz. And we can get away with that and still make it sound Sabaton.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So no, I don't.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So no, I don't feel limited at all.
I have been following you since your debut album, and I remember you playing in a small club in Athens in front of 80 people. It was.
Oh wait, was this 2008 or 9 or something?
Yeah, that was 2008, I think. 2008.
Yeah, that's funny because that night I had one of the most profound moments of my professional career, or it's actually the time I realized that, oh shit, you know, we are, you know, I'm standing here on stage. I remember we were playing Ghost Division, and in the middle of the song, everything froze, and I remember thinking like, oh shit, here I am in Athens having a good time for the first time, and a lot of people are coming along singing. I mean, not a lot. We played bigger shows for sure, but more than we expected for a first time in a new country. And I'm having a great time. And you know what? I haven't had any other job. I mean, I'm not saying we made much money. I could afford noodles. That's about it, you know. But that's what exactly on that day was when I realized, like, shit, I don't know how it happened or when it happened, but I haven't had another job in a year and a half. I guess I'm a professional musician.
Yeah, and you ended up playing in front of 1,800 people in Athens. Yeah. I mean, in Athens, because I have been a part of the team that brought you in Athens the last 4 times, and that's quite an improvement. I saw the whole way that you work during your live, before and after your live show. Everything, and it's obvious that it's not only hard work. What else is it? Was it the result of a master plan? Did you plan everything since day one, and you succeeded in doing them? Or is it just hard work? I mean,
no, it's actually 2 parts to that question. No, let's start with the master plan. No, it wasn't a master plan. We didn't know we were going to sing about military history, or that we were going to dress up like the village people in camo pants, you know. That came naturally. But all the bad ideas, we didn't do them again. You know, okay, that was bad. Let's not do that anymore. That was good. Let's keep on doing that. So that the whole thing, if you look, I understand the question, because if you look at Sabaton today, it looked like a pretty fucking smart master plan. You know, yeah. We're going to dress like this. We're going to sing about that. This is what we're going to bring on stage. No, but I mean, it's every kid's dream to have a tank on stage. So of course, when we could finally afford it and have the stages, we did it. So that's organic, actually, how everything developed. But going back to what it is, it's not only hard work. It is a big part of it, but it's also what you do. You have to be sort of good enough at it. Call it grit. How the quality of what you do, even if it's a live show or the music, it has to. You don't have to be the best in the world. I'm not saying Sabaton is the best band in the world here. I'm saying it has to be good enough at a certain level. You have to work hard to become better, because every band is a shit band in the beginning. So were we for many years, actually. But then it's a third thing also, and you need luck. Right time and right place.
Yeah.
When we started out, we were bad during times. It was bad for heavy metal. So we got started getting used to things being hard. Melodic metal wasn't popular, but we have to remember that Hammerfall and Blind Guardian and these bands, they had already started opening up the door, but the opening hadn't happened yet properly. And by the time we are starting to become better as a band and finally doing good shows. Melodic metal is being more accepted. If we would have started 10 years earlier, we'd probably be fucked. We'd be nowhere near where we are today.
Yeah.
Even if we did everything the same.
Yeah, but you had been doing several moves that showed that you were here to last for many years. I mean, most bands go for the quick money and say that let's get this amount of money for that show. But you, I know that firsthand, are a band who wants to build an audience in each country.
Yeah.
You don't care only about the money, the amount of money that you get. You just want to build an audience, a loyal audience in every country, and you are perfectly sure of yourselves that the next time it will be better, and next time it will be even better and even better, and then you will get everything that you want. That's a healthy way of thinking, if you tell me. And
thank you for noticing and putting it in an interview, because what you say is absolutely true. But I also think it's because
I told you I know that firsthand. I haven't heard about that. I've done that with your.
But it's like for us, what do we want most? We want to play heavy metal.
Yeah.
We want to be a band who's still cares about if we do a bad show. Oh shit! If it happens, how can we make sure it doesn't happen again? We want to do that. I think there's nothing wrong with money, but it's a consequence of success.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't hunt the money. You shouldn't hunt the success. And I think it doesn't only matter for metal. If you make cellular phones, if your focus is to make the best fucking cellular phone in the world, you will be successful and you will have a lot of money.
You will have the money. That's it. And
so our focus is how can we make Sabaton better? Because it's always hard, especially in the beginning for a band. How do we compete with, let's say, us growing up, Iron Maiden? We couldn't even imagine playing on Wacken, let alone headlining the festival. That's not where you
playing in two stages simultaneously.
Yeah, I mean, if you ask 19-year-old Joakim, he would laugh at somebody saying something stupid like that. But with a theme instead of always measuring outward, measuring by success and money, how about we measure it in how do we become better? How can we do things that is more fun? Because that means we want to play music more,
Yeah.
And I think it's not like this is the right, I'm saying we are saints for thinking like this. I think genuinely, even from a business standpoint, this is smarter.
Yeah. A few years ago, you toured with Accept, and you even came to Greece with that billing. And for some people, having Accept as a support act felt like an insult.
Yeah.
Can you explain, please, what happened in this tour? Not to me, I know that. The people.
Well, here's the thing. It felt bad for us as well. I mean, Accept is one of my favorite bands of all time. The first time that happened to us, this was a couple of years ago. But Twisted Sister is a pretty big band in Sweden. They were pretty big. But actually, at one point, we outgrew them. And I had never felt more ashamed of going on stage than we did in Örebro. I don't remember which year. In Sweden, maybe somewhere between 2009 and 2013. But going on and playing Ghost Division after they fucking played We're Not Gonna Take It, the song that made me a metalhead, that was so wrong. Every fiber in my body says this is not the way it's supposed to be. Yeah, and when we talked about having Accept as a support band, it's like, how can we supported them in the US only 5 or 6 years ago. And the reality of the fact was that in some countries we were almost the same size, but in most countries we were slightly or quite a lot larger than them. So that would be the most effective way of the bill. And it says something about Accept that they were willing to do that.
Yeah. To me, it says that they don't care if a younger band is playing the headlining role, because they want to grow, they want to build an audience of younger kids, because young kids do not know Accept. And which is the better way to get a younger audience to go with a band that attracts younger audience? That's easy.
Exactly.
That's easy. And as far as I know, allow me to say that I know exactly how well you treated Accept in every kind of form, in every terms during the tour. I know that you treated them as true headliners in every aspect, I mean it. And that's very, it's very good for you, because you have built a name in the scene, so respectable that even if someone doesn't like your music, I don't think that they have something to say about your integrity and
Thank you.
your respectfulness. And this is something that I really wanted to clarify about your tour with Accept, because I don't think that you asked from Accept to tour with you as a support band, but Accept came to you and asked to be a support act. Is that so?
Yeah, it was actually at first started talk of after the US run. It was actually, I think, Per and Gaby and Wolf who started talking about doing something together in Europe. And we met a couple of times. It took a few years before the timing happened. And by that time, we had sort of start growing. We were already a bigger band in Europe than we were in the US. But no, it wasn't like us asking them, will you be our support band? We talked together for several years about touring together. We did not set at that point when we started talking that who is going to support who.
Yeah.
But we thought it would be good for both bands. And as you said, when people get angry, it happened also in Spain, for example, people were angry, like it's an insult towards Accept, instead of, as you very smartly pointed out, be happy that Accept are smart enough to go and try and find a new, younger audience, so your favorite band can afford to stay alive for longer.
Yeah, this means that they want to create more music.
Yes,
healthy. It's healthy for them. I mean, if they stuck to their old audience, their people like me near their 50s, how many years would they play music? How many years will I go to heavy metal shows? Will I go to every show till my 60s? That's difficult. You have to renew your audience. And speaking of that, you together with bands like Powerwolf, like Arch Enemy, Amon Amarth, Ginger, are some of the very few bands that bring young people to heavy metal music. People start listening to heavy metal music because of the bands I mentioned, you and Powerwolf and all these bands. How do you see the fact that older metalheads do not seem to like it and talk badly about you and the rest of the bands?
Every grandfather told their grandchild that their new music is shit, right?
Yeah, that's it. That's it. And in every aspect, I mean, in football, in basketball.
Yeah, but I think every generation needs its heroes, you know. For me, nobody's going to be bigger than Richie Blackmore. That's the way it is, you know. But in a way, I'm happy. But it's also a double-edged sword. Kids, even if they like Iron Maiden, if they are, let's say, 15 years old, it's easier for them to relate to Tommy than to Adrian Smith. He's more closer to their age. And imagine, you know, Tommy, our guitar player, started out, he took a fan picture with us in 2005, you know, now he's in the band. Isn't that sort of more endearing? And he's also, quite recently, he is still a young guitar player who has a dream to do something. And of course, you can relate to somebody who is only 5 or 10 years older than you, rather than somebody who's 30, 40 years older than you, because that's somebody else's music that an older generation discovered. You young people want to discover their own music. I mean, the old people have just forgotten that they wanted to discover their own music.
Yeah, and the story of your guitar player, Tommy, is a kind of what we say success story.
Yeah.
from a picture, from a fun picture, to being the guitar player of the band. How was it to play with Judas Priest in the US and being present in Richie Faulkner's health scare?
Oh, fuck me. Sorry for the language, but that was brutal because for several reasons. I mean, we just gotten the tour going. I mean, we had done a few shows, but the shows were really starting to feel good. We were so happy to be on tour again. Both us and Judas, it was sorry again for the language, fucking killer package, you know? Good shows. I mean, mixed crowds, fans. Both bands were winners, you know. There were some younger people who hadn't really seen, they heard of Judas Priest, but had never seen them before. There were some, of course, new fans, Judas Priest fans who never heard of Sabaton before. And both bands were doing really well. And we were prepared because we were doing testing. We were careful with no guests in the buses or in the backstage. We were doing corona tests, masking up. We were prepared for some postponement or delays or rescheduling thanks to corona. But then it felt so bad because by the time we had been sitting partying that night because we were so happy to be on tour and we had 2 days off. So we decided to get drunk. Half of Sabaton and Sabaton's crew, and I guess quite a few people from the Judas Priest crew, because we know a few people. Our Judas Priest stage manager is also our stage manager from time to time. And so we were drinking together, playing, you know, Van Halen songs, getting drunk and, you know, having fun. Because at that point, all we knew was, no, he was going for a checkup because he didn't feel very well, you know, after the show. So we felt doubly bad that we heard that he had been 10.5 hours in surgery, you know, and it was that close of him dying. So we felt like assholes for partying the night before. But in a sense, yeah, it's really fucking happy there was a, you know, medic on site and he made it.
You have done several actions that showed that you were ahead of your time. Doing your own festival, doing your own cruise. These days you have the Steel Commander song for the video game. You have a board game, World of Tanks, the Battle Through History. What's next for Sabaton to be one step forward?
It's already been rolling out, and that's, I mean, we have the History channel as well since before, but we've just launched a magazine, fan magazine called Sabotage. No, Camouflage, sorry. And it's like, in a way, we've noticed that we usually get, when we were asked questions by journalists, in many cases, we get to say what we want said, and the journalist gets to ask the question and gets the answer, in most times, what they want. However, we found out that there are a lot of fans who have questions that are so, you know, not weird, but they're a little bit different. They want to know other things sometimes. And so we thought, well, that's one way of doing it. And I also like the format of a magazine, something to read on the bathroom or whatever, you know. But also we're trying to get, put the light on, like we have this segment called Far From the Fame after our song. And there's also an interview there. Instead of us, we interview Jonas Kjellgren, who's been producing us. Because we had a lot of fans who wants to know about the technical side or a little bit about the producing. Some of the questions on the interview in the first issue was with me, but that some of those questions are questions we've sort of saved that we've had several fans asking us. So in a way, I don't know. It's also something fun to do.
And which would be the biggest dream come true for Sabaton after all these years
After all these years, you know what? I still have this fantasy that might not happen, but I'm going to do everything in my power to do it. And that's like do a Battlefields Europe tour. You know, let's play on Normandy Beach and start with Primo Victoria. Have pyros in the sand, have the crowd come in, you know, let them be the allies. Let them come in amphibious landing crafts. Let them jump out into the water and storm the beaches of Normandy while they, there's pyro coming and we're starting the show up on the bunkers. Let's play on the fields of Flanders and play a song, "The Price of a Mile."
Mm-hmm.
Let's I don't know. I mean, for us, Battlefield Europe, there's going to be a lot of places, to be able to sing these things. Let's sing the song "Hearts of Iron" in Berlin.
Mm-hmm.
That would be the dream.
Yeah.